Hi, I'm Dr. Rollan Roberts, Chairman of the Board of the International Association of Pageantry, wishing you a happy International Women's Day. And of course, we're just excited to celebrate women. I think we do it, we try to do it year round, especially at IAOP. But one of the things we wanted to do was really showcase an example of how pageantry has affected and empowered women. And so to do that today, we have joining us Megan Clementi. Megan was Miss Florida 2010. She has been a dancer for the Orlando Magic, the NBA team in Orlando, Florida. She has an engineering degree from the University of Central Florida. She's an amazing mom and wife and has two boys, which we're going to hear about in a little bit, and some of the challenges that but also opportunities that one aspect, especially of motherhood, that sets her apart, has to play. So obviously you're a model. I see you on TV and on commercials and so forth, and a host. And so thank you for being with us today, Megan.
Oh, my pleasure.
And we're most excited that you are on the board and a part really supporting women.
It's such a great opportunity. I mean, the rest of the board knows how much pageantry has really shaped me as a person. I feel like it really gives women a jump start on the skills that we typically don't learn until college. And it prepares us for so much. So for me, I feel like pageantry has really catapulted me to where I am. And I think this is an awesome opportunity to give back and share our experiences and try to make the best future experiences for all the girls that are currently competing and the future contestants.
Yeah, well, a lot of people talk about empowering women, but to go beyond talk and do something about it, I think just your presence on the board, your contribution, your ideas, what you help execute, it's just, you live it, you don't just speak it. And so let me just start kind of at the beginning. How old were you when you got into pageantry, when you did your first pageant?
I started pageantry right after I turned 18, and I did it for scholarship money because I did not get the highest SAT score, and I refused to take the test again. I'm like, I hate testing. I'm not doing this. I'm going to pay the other 25% of my bright futures, and it's going to be fine.
Wow.
So that's
so you did it for scholarship. Wow. Yeah. Okay. So how'd that work out for you?
Well, I did not take the SATs again. I did get my 75% bright futures, and I ended up being second runner-up at the Miss Palm Beach County pageant.
Okay.
And I was completely novice. I actually applauded myself when I won. I'm like, awesome, I can't believe I placed. Because I had no prep and I had no experience in pageantry whatsoever. I was just so naive. It's really cute when I think about it.
Right.
Way back then.
Yeah.
But it got me excited, and I feel like I learned a lot from the other contestants. And if you fast forward 6 years, I did end up winning Miss Florida USA. And one of the ways that I wanted to give back was through my degree of electrical engineering. So I actually started my own scholarship called the Future Female Scientist Award, and Harris Corporation funded it for me for the first 3 years. And I was able to give every single winner of the FFSA award $100 at the local level for their middle school science fair.
Wow.
So if a young lady had an extraordinary STEM or STEAM science fair project, we would award her the $100, and then whoever won state for the award got $250.
Wow.
And that was my way of saying, listen, this is a male-dominated world, but it doesn't matter, because if you love science and math, go for it.
Yeah.
I'm an example of it. I want to support you, so I'm recognizing you.
Yeah.
So that's kind of where my Go Girls started.
Yeah. That's awesome. So 6 years from your first pageant to the time you won Miss Florida.
Correct.
Okay. So tell me what the 18-year-old Megan looked like, and then tell me what the 24-year-old winner, when you won the pageant, Megan, looked like. What was the difference?
Okay. Well, if we talk literally physical appearance, I had curls all over my hair, almost no makeup on, had not plucked my eyebrows for the first time yet.
This is your first pageant?
Yeah. Wore my dance costume from my previous dance recital instead of having like a fancy one made. Borrowed all my gowns from people that were not the same size as me. And for interview, I had my hair in a slicked back Spanish bun like I had worn in my ballet recital. So that's awesome. The first one. Oh. And then my last one was Miss USA, where, hair and makeup galore and perfectly fitting gowns, just the total pageant look. But that's not how it started. And I never competed in more than one system at a time. I just didn't believe in that. I didn't really know about it. So I did the one pageant. I waited a whole year to come back. And then I actually, was that the year I took off? No, I went to the Miss South Florida Fair pageant and I was first runner up. And I was so mad at myself because I didn't prepare.
Oh.
Like, was that close? And I did no preparation. I'm like, that's dumb. Like, I could have made it to Miss Florida. So that was my wake-up call. The next year I moved to Japan, so I had to take a year off. So when I came back from Japan, I said, this is it. I am practicing. I am going to get the right gown. I'm going to have the look. And the look was still me.
Right.
I wasn't trying to be anybody else, but it was a polished version of myself.
Okay.
And I won.
Yeah. I won. Okay. And then that was the year you won. Now, you said something that I think is really interesting in terms of you weren't trying to be somebody else. You really were trying to be the best version of you in the polished side. So, people talk about that's one of the main takeaways from participating in pageantry is, the ability to interview, the ability to speak, articulate, community service, have a platform, but also be the best version of you. Learn, how you feel about yourself when you take care of yourself, when you try to stay fit, when you eat right, when you do get dressed up. That's one of the tricks that I still do in the morning. You don't want to look like a bum, at noon because you're going to act and think and speak like one. You want to get up, take a shower as fast as you can, or get some coffee. You want to get moving and be as sharp because you will, perform, usually equal to that, or at least better. So what are some what did it do inside? So we talked about the outside, but what did pageantry do really for you as an individual, emotionally or even professionally? How does it relate to all the things you're doing today?
I think pageantry in general forced me at an earlier age to really look at myself and figure out, who do I want to be in 5 years or 10 years? What are my strengths? What are my weaknesses? What are my dreams and desires? And those are things that people look at, but typically in a very shallow way. They don't go full force into laying it all out because they're not going to be in an interview room with a panel of judges that are going to, really take you apart. At this time, I was competing in the America system, and everyone knows that Miss America, it's a rigorous interview process where they can ask you anything. I had to know current events. I had to have an opinion on those current events, and I had to be able to state them in a way that I didn't offend anybody because I don't know their opinions.
Right.
So it taught me a lot about myself in that respect. Like how to communicate my thoughts and what my thoughts actually are. And I was able to put those things into action at an earlier age. So when I was younger, I knew I wanted to be an electrical engineer. So the next step is to go to school for it. Well, it was because of pageantry. I won the Miss University of Central Florida pageant. I became the spokesperson for the UCF engineering department, where I'm not going to say we became buddy, but I became close to the director, the assistant director of the engineering department. I met all the big wigs as far as the sponsors, Harris Corporation, Lockheed Martin. So I was able to network in a way that 21-year-olds don't typically get to network. So for me, that was also huge. Upon graduating and then coming back from Miss USA, I kind of had this epiphany, and it all boiled down to what do I want for me, and what am I just doing because I'm good at it?
Right.
Which is something that the younger me wasn't able to answer. I'm great at math and science. I want an engineering degree. My dad's an electrical engineer. I want to be like my dad. I love going to work with him, so I'm going to love it. I have not worked a day as an electrical engineer because I found this new career through pageantry and through my time as a dancer, as an MC and a host, which I love. But deep down, from when I was a little girl, I dreamed of being a mom. So the number one most important thing to me in the entire world is being there for my children and giving them the experience they need to be as confident and as driven and as brave to go out in the world and do what they do. All of that, the emotional things that they need, starts when they're little. And they need it right now. When they go into school, it'll be a little bit easier to give myself more time. But right now, while they're still at home, they need all that from me. So I work several days a week. I'm still doing my thing. But it became very clear to me once I got married that this is the time to sacrifice me to literally please myself by being the best mom as possible, right?
Mm.
So sacrifice
it could
what
look,
I need
yeah,
to actually have my dream delivered, which is be a great mom.
which is a principle of success. So you weren't sacrificing yourself, you were making sacrifices, but you were actually
Yeah.
stepping into a greater version of yourself. Whereas others might say, oh, she's pulling back. Really,
Right.
it was an expansion, and you still are able to do a lot of your passions. It just looks different. But it's interesting the role that sacrifice always plays into really getting what you want,
There's
who
a,
you want to be.
yeah, I think, I guess the best way to say it is when you have success, you put yourself out there and more opportunities come and come and come and come. Right now, I'm kind of coasting off the great reputation that I've made in Central Florida and abroad, and I take opportunities as they come, but I'm not pushing for more because that'll take me away from my number one job, which is my children.
Right.
There will be a time for me to hang out with my girlfriends more and go on dates with my husband again, but right now my kids need me the most, so I take things as I can, but I have to remember that my priorities are in my household at the same time.
So let me ask this. I mean, can we all just applaud? Like right now, that's amazing.
I think a lot of women kind of look down upon that today. This is my thing. I think International Women's Day is amazing. But I do feel like I'm kind of like the anti-feminist feminist.
Yes.
Where I don't want to tell women, go out there and be better than men and do all these amazing things. I want to say, look inside yourself and what do you want?
Yeah.
What do you want, and go for it. And if you want to be a mom and you want to stay at home, be the best mom staying at home that you can possibly be. If you want to be the CEO of the company, let's do it. You can be that CEO. But I don't feel like everyone has to be pushed into these ultra career successful ideas. I think we need to figure out what we want and push ourselves to get to that space no matter where it is.
You can't imagine. I mean, it's the vast majority of people. Very few reach the top of the ladder, period. But a vast majority of the ones who do realize that they get to the top and realize one or two things. Their ladder was leaning against the wrong wall, or that it's not fulfilling. They got what they wanted, and it's not what they really wanted. Some of the best things in life are what we don't get that we think we want. And and I think it certainly, you're speaking to values, core values that we have as individuals and so forth, ethics, which is what the IAOP even just stands for. So I think it's wonderful. I was just speaking in Rwanda at a women's conference for all of the African countries, and they really have the same philosophy. All of the African women that are leading that movement, women in unconventional careers or previously male-dominated careers, and so I'm hearing this for 2 days, just all of these different aspects. But they have the right philosophy, which is what you mentioned. They don't want the pendulum to swing all the way over to women and are the superior. There's not a superior. That's the problem. There's not a superior. We're together. We're all humans. That's kind of what we actually are. And there's not you're human and I'm human. There's all these different types of humans, but we're all human. And quite frankly, one of the things that they brought out at that conference was that if women want to actually accomplish what they say they want to accomplish, whether it's legislatively, different, maybe especially equality in education, equal access to education, and really that's the most important. Equal access is the issue, not because in some of those countries, the girls aren't allowed to go to school, or they force them to quit after first grade, or things like that. So it's equal access, to some of these things, and it's not the way we think about it in the United States. So, and I think especially for our viewing audience that's global in pageantry, it's important to know, have this philosophy where we work together. Males aren't trying to dominate women, women aren't trying to dominate men. We're all trying to be the best versions of what we were created to be, and I think that's and we should be supporting each other on that journey.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I 100%. I get you and you get me right now.
Yes. Yeah. Okay. So to that end, I went to you spoke about the high priority and dream really that being a mother is for you. So tell us about your two boys and kind of what you've been involved in the last couple of weeks even.
Okay. I do have two boys. I am so the boy mom, which I I love. They both look just like their daddy. My oldest is named Landon, and he's 4.5 years old. My youngest is named Liam. He just turned 2, and they are total spitfires. Landon has had a little bit of a journey since birth. He was actually diagnosed deaf at 10 weeks old, and we made some big decisions, and you kind of have to. So at age 2, he got implanted with cochlear implants, and we started attending this amazing school called Clark Schools for Hearing and Speech. Before that, we tried everything in Central Florida, between going to Orange County Public Schools, the special group at the University of Central Florida. We even flew out to California at the John Tracy Clinic and went to their International Toddler Intensive program to learn how to be the best parents to a deaf child as possible. And we kind of had this aha moment when we were at John Tracy Clinic, which is world renowned, because everything, we thought we were going to go there with these 9 other families from around the world and learn all this information that we didn't know. And we walked away, we're like, we knew all of it. And we thought about it, we're like, okay, why do we know all this? We know all this because Clark's Hearing and Speech taught it to us. So we knew that we had found a home with this school. And we're just so blessed because Landon is speaking in full sentences. His articulation is almost on par with his normal hearing group, which means when you get cochlear implants, you start over with your hearing. So your age of your hearing is age 0 when you get implanted. So in the past 2.5 years, he has made almost 4 years of progress, which is a lot of hard work.
Yeah, wow.
Part of this journey is to make sure Clark Schools continues to get funding. So through our lobbyists and through the Florida Coalition, which is made up of a bunch of families who have deaf children, we go to Tallahassee every year, and we go to the session, and instead of complaining and telling them we need this, we are the thank you family. So we show up, a different family Monday through Thursday, every day for the 8 weeks, from the 5 different auditory or oral schools in the state of Florida. And we go in there and we say thank you to everybody that supported us. Because as of right now, every senator and every representative who has been there over a year at some point in time has said yes to funding our program. So thanking them is not a lie. So it's been really neat to be able to speak to these people that have so much power, and for them to actually talk to my kid and see what a difference early education and technology has made in his life. Because no matter how you spin it, the thing for us is that we want our child to have even more opportunities than we had growing up. Isn't that what every mom wants, or every father wants for their child?
Yes.
Well, if your child's deaf and can't speak, there's nothing wrong with American Sign Language. It's a beautiful language that allows you to communicate with a lot of people. But good job. But here's the problem. Only 35,000 deaf people use ASL in the nation. And we have billions of people that we want to communicate in the world that speak English.
Yes.
So let me give my kid everything he needs.
Yes.
So we did the surgery. We do the early education. If he wants to do only ASL when he's older, fine, you can do just ASL. But you got to learn the English now to choose whether or not you want it. If we didn't give him this opportunity, he wouldn't have the chance to learn English, because there's a chance after the age of 3, 0 to 3 is called a neurological emergency, for your brain to learn language. And if you don't properly nourish it, that part of your brain closes down and goes more toward either gross motor or fine motor skills. So the time was now. So it's really cool. We're excited to be able to go to Tallahassee and make a difference. And this year we had a representative actually contact our lobbyist saying that Landon was the favorite part of his week and he wants to send us a thank you note. So it's really cool to know that my 4-year-old is making a difference for kids just like him in the future for the state of Florida.
That is wonderful. Last question for you. How did pageantry prepare you for this journey and for all of the work that you're doing today? What are some things where you look back and you're like, that really gave me a hand up, or like because I participated?
So after I won Miss Florida USA, you work so hard and you're like, yes, I finally did it. And then as time goes by, you're like, man, I met so many girls that wanted it so much more than I did. I wanted it and I worked hard for it, but I had other opportunities. Some girls put all their eggs in one basket and that's all they want and they don't get it. Like, why did I win? Why was I chosen? Why was it me? After I had Landon, it all sunk in. I knew why. Everything happens for a reason. And by winning Miss Florida USA, I was already ready with a built-in network of contacts that could help my son get the best education possible. So at age 4, he can be in Tallahassee being the best leader to say, hey, 300 kids a year are born just like me in the state of Florida. They need hearing aids immediately, and they need auditory oral funding. If I didn't have those contacts, if I didn't have the confidence to be able to speak in public and tell our story, if I wasn't already a host and an MC that knew people where they would give me an opportunity like this at events to say, hey, let me tell you my story, and get additional donations and then them to share my story, all those things would not have been possible because I'd be sitting at a desk as an electrical engineer.
Wow.
And there's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with sitting at a desk as a double. Yeah. But that would not have helped my kid.
Right.
And it wouldn't help my kid help other kids. So for me, I don't feel like I like a deeply religious person, but I do feel God was looking out for me and gave me this opportunity so that I could be the best mom to my child.
Yeah. Well, I've never heard someone connect pageantry to that. One of the benefits of it was networking, and especially networking outside of hair and makeup artists. And so it's obviously is a huge, benefit of really participating.
Well, what happens when you're in an interview? You get asked all the time, what are you going to do for the crown? Yeah. When I judge pageants, I say, what do you think the crown's going to do for you? Because it's a partnership. Like, yes, you're stepping into this role and the crown is giving you opportunities and you get to share the message of your pageant system as well as your platform, right? But as you're doing that, you're getting built up inside. You're gaining confidence, you're gaining exposure, you're gaining experience, and in the end, it's only helping you be a better person.
And it's really, so you're debating.
Help the crown, and the crown's going to help you.
You're hearing all of the other answers to some of these things, and it's helping form your opinions. It's also, I think, I see it help people how to overcome obstacles and challenges, because you're not allowed to just go throw a pity party about how bad your life is or about how bad things are. In fact, there is an element to, if your story, that the worse it is, and you still are here competing and overcoming that. I mean, we've seen girls that literally just had a loss of an immediate family member, in a week or 2 weeks before a pageant, and they wanted to compete for that person. I mean,
yeah,
you just had that brave is super emotional, strong.
I just judged a pageant, and a sweet little 10-year-old girl lost her dad 2 weeks earlier, and what a doll baby. She cried throughout her entire interview, but she was able to answer all of our questions, and she was able to be incredibly eloquent. Like, she was very articulate with her words, even though you knew that she was just hurting so bad inside. And in the end, she still won, and it's not because any of the judges felt bad for her.
Right.
It's because she had a true purpose for competing, and she was conveying that message, and she was amazing. Absolutely amazing.
That's phenomenal. And I think that story just illustrates what we want pageantry, the pageant industry globally to be about. That's really what it's about. It gets, I think the media highlights a lot of the other anomalies to it, or the one-offs, or kind of some of the more of a circus side of it, if you will. But really, when you get down to some of the individuals, the stories are amazing. The people, I mean, I feel like we could do like the Olympics does, the backstory before you compete. Yes. I feel like you could almost have that kind of a video for many pageant contestants, and your life clearly is one of them. So thank you so much for joining us today and sharing your story for International Women's Day. Thank you for your service with the IAOP and for being who you are.
Well, thank you so much. I had a lot of fun. I appreciate that.
Happy International Women's Day, everyone.
Happy International Women's Day. Bye.